I have spent so much time thinking about Bitcoin and obsessing over Bitcoin. And this is something I gotta say, I was not expecting in 2025. Steak and Shake is literally posting Bitcoin memes, okay? In this video, I want to talk about how Steak and Shake has the potential of becoming a Bitcoin company, how Steak and Shake potentially could be buying a 30 to 40 million dollars worth of Bitcoin. And at the end of the video, we're going to talk about how you can copy corporate treasury adoption to increase your Bitcoin stack just like a corporation. So without further ado, let's talk about the most important thing first, which is the memes, of course. Steak and Shake, yes, has been posting memes. For those of you that are not in the United States or maybe out west in the United States aren't aware what Steak and Shake is a fast food chain, mostly in the Midwest. It was founded in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is where I'm from. So awesome to see that. Steak and Shake is really big in Indiana and across the Midwest. They have burgers, fries. It's pretty good. It's quite greasy for my taste, but they've been, talking about beef tallow a lot, and RFK Jr. has been there a lot. Clearly, the Steak and Shake brand is trying to pivot towards more health-friendly and apparently Bitcoin-friendly discussions. Now, they have not bought Bitcoin yet that we are aware of. They've not disclosed anything, but they've been posting multiple tweets, multiple memes, implying that they're in Bitcoin, right? This tweet here from March 10th, they're saying future is bright with a hodl street sign, clearly generated by AI. So I don't know. That to me kind of seems like something Bitcoin related. It's Steak and Shake using AI, saying the future is bright with Bitcoin undertones. They also were tweeting that, asking if they should accept Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff. And they're joking about being the first fast food chain on Mars. They're talking about making America healthy again. And they got the Bitcoin memes. So pretty funny to see. So let's dive into the math of actually realistically how many Bitcoin could Steak and Shake buy if theoretically they were to actually put the money where their memes are and buy. So Steak and Shake, like I said, it's in the Midwest. It's primarily an American chain. They do have chains and franchises outside the United States, but they're mostly within the United States. Who owns Steak and Shake? Who's in charge of posting the memes? This corporation, Bill Big Laurie Holdings, American holding company in San Antonio, Texas, founded by entrepreneur of the same name. Steak and Shake is the primary holding of the company. Now, I looked at their New York Stock Exchange report here, and this is their cash and cash equivalents in millions. For all the previous years. So they had 1.6 million in cash and cash equivalents back in 2008 during the great financial crisis. And now they have $37.5 million of cash and cash equivalents as of 2022. They had up to 120 million, nearly triple more all the way back in 2014. So we could be looking at minimum tens of millions of dollars, if not potentially hundreds of millions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin. We'll talk about the implications here in just a moment. But before anything else, I want to talk about something that's not related to fast food and junk food, but about health and exercise and outdoor activities. A really awesome event coming up here is Bitcoin Zion in late May and early June of 2025. There's the big conference in Miami, the Bitcoin Magazine conference in Las Vegas, Nevada, in late May, the last week of May of this year in 2025. Some big names are going to be there. Grant Cardone, Michael Saylor, Cynthia Lemnis, Adam Back is going to be there, right? Lots of Bitcoin legends and people will be there. I'll be there. I'll be in Vegas during the week. But immediately after the conference, about 30 Bitcoiners are going out to Zion National Park. We have a big, nice resort and a couple houses nearby rented where we're going to spend a few days to get to know each other, make friendships. This is the kind of event that, in my opinion, is way better than a conference, way better than even a meetup, way better than a small group. This, you're actually getting to do something with Bitcoiners. It's outside. You'll have conversations. You'll make lots of friends. Some people are going are couples. Other people are singles. Other people are even bringing their teenage or young adult children. So no matter your age, no matter where you're from, if you have any interest, especially if you're in the Western United States, of going to Zion National Park, seeing some of the most beautiful landscapes in the entire United States, this is an event I would highly encourage you to go to. The dates are on the screen. It's about 90 minutes outside of Vegas. Your transportation, lodging, and food is all covered for the few days. We're trying to make logistics simple so that all you're doing over the course of your little vacation is hiking with fellow Bitcoiners and making new memories. And then in the evenings, we'll have some special exclusive presentations from Bitcoin companies showing us some of the incredible products rapidly approaching us down the line. So you're going to learn a lot, you're going to make a lot of friends, and most importantly, you're going to leave with memories and connections and relationships that you'll be able to carry into the future. Because guess what? The Steak and Shakes of the world are coming. The McDonald's of the world are coming. The Wendy's of the world are coming. All the fast food chains are coming. And when it's normal, when it's everyone is doing it, and it's no longer cool or unique to be in Bitcoin, these are going to be the kind of events that you really wish that you went to. This is a special, unique opportunity. Obviously, inherently, there are literally probably only going to be a few Bitcoin events in Zion before Bitcoin mass adoption. Like, even if I'm doing one of these a year and somebody else is doing one of these a year, like literally there may only be like 500 people ever that get to say, I went to some Bitcoin retreat for 4 days in the middle of one of the most beautiful places in the country. And by the way, one of National Geographic's ranked 50 top resorts in the whole world. So an absolutely beautiful place, gorgeous, stunning view. Not a lot of people are going to have the bragging rights saying, I was in Bitcoin early and I met lots of other fellow Bitcoiners and we shared some really special memories together. So seats are filling up. It is almost full. We're selling out the last few bedrooms and rooms right now. So if you want a spot, this is probably one of your last chances, if not your last chance for that. You can text the phone number on the screen, Bitcoin Zion, and we'll have a conversation. We'll make sure that it's a like-minded fit and that you vibe well with the group and that you're able to make it work, and would love to have you go. We've got Cybertruck games, hot tub, like I said, special presentations from Bitcoin companies that I think are going to be really informative. So this is a good event. Highly encourage you to do it if you're kind of a not fast food person, but an outdoors and friendship oriented person. So without further ado, let's get back to the junk food. I know Steak and Shake, you're trying to be healthier, but at least for now, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to get a burger just to give you guys a second chance. But anyway, it's fine. It's just not my favorite. So let's get back to the implications of this. What are the implications of Steak and Shake buying a bunch of Bitcoin? Well, I don't know because they've not done it yet, but they do have 400 locations. That is a pretty tangible, pretty real impact on customers. They have 110 million customers a year, more or less, give or take 10, 20 million or so, right? That's a lot of people going through the drive-thrus, right? That could be a major touch point for people, right? Most people adopt Bitcoin not because of a single mention of it, but because of multiple touch points. And if, hey, wait a second, I'm seeing Bitcoin more in the news. Hey, I heard that the president has a Bitcoin. Or hey, I saw that our fast food chain is asking if we want to take it, blah, blah, blah. If everyone's doing it, well, then maybe I should at least learn about it, or I'm embarrassed I don't know more about it, and maybe I should learn more. Maybe I should go to Luke's Bitcoin channel and subscribe, because that's what good viewers of Luke's channel do. They subscribe because they're nice and they're not making Luke sad. So 100 million people go to Steak and Shake. So I think that is a pretty big deal. And frankly, with having somewhere between 30 to 130 million dollars of cash and cash equivalents, the reality is that probably I think the social impact would be a bigger number go up catalyst for Bitcoin adoption than the buy alone, right? Like, I think if they go all into the Bitcoin branding, which they're posting tweets even before they've announced anything. So I don't know, if they were going to buy, it seems to me they would kind of lean into the memes and kind of lean into the branding. They're trying to refresh their face by having beef tallow and make America healthy again, whatever. So maybe they leverage Bitcoin for the marketing, which ultimately is good for the business. And, that's probably going to be the bigger catalyst for Bitcoin than, a $30 million buy. So theoretically, let's say they were to plow in 30, 40, $50 million into Bitcoin, raise some debt, put into cash. Theoretically, maybe they might be able to get 300 to 400 Bitcoin. Okay, I really want to emphasize this. I think all of us, including me and including you, are spoiled and forgetting or detached with reality. Do you understand that seeing Michael Saylor's and MicroStrategy's Bitcoin buys of thousands and tens of thousands of Bitcoin, do you understand that's going to be rare? No other company on the face of the planet is going to be able to buy 500,000 Bitcoin or 1 million Bitcoin like MicroStrategy has been able to do, right? Do you understand how this is like as good as it gets for most companies? Okay, think about that. They have 400 locations. 100 million people eat there a year. They have tens of millions of dollars on their balance sheet. They are probably one of the top 10 or 20 largest fast food chains in America. And even if they went all in, theoretically, which is no guarantee they will, although they might, given the memes, but even if they did, they might get a third of 1,000 coins, right? Like, you have to understand how early you are to Bitcoin. Many of you watching this have over 300 Bitcoin. Okay, I know most of you don't, and don't yell at me in the comments, but I know there are a few dozen people that watch my channel that have hundreds of Bitcoin, at least 100, 300, 500, some of you even 1,000 Bitcoin. Like, I've met you guys. I know you're out there, right? And for every one of you out there that has 300 coins, there's 10 more of you that have 3.7 coins, right? Maybe you don't have 370 Bitcoin, but maybe you have 3.7. Okay, do you understand that if you have 3.7 Bitcoin, you have 1% of the balance sheet of a 400 location fast food chain in America? Do you understand that? And that's assuming Steak and Shake goes all in, and they go all in at these cheap Bitcoin prices, right? Like, what if they don't go all in? And what about all the other fast food chains that don't go all in? Do you understand that? Do you understand how little, how much you have with 3.7 Bitcoin? Oh, Luke, I only have 3.7 Bitcoin. Man, I really wish I got 10 Bitcoin. Then I'd be able to retire. I'll never be able to retire on 2 Bitcoin. Or if I ever retire on 2 Bitcoin, it'll be 20 years from now. I don't think you understand. Like, you own 1% of a inherently above average Bitcoin company. Again, this is assuming they actually buy the Bitcoin, right? But many of you maybe don't have 3.7 Bitcoin. Maybe you have even less, right? And that is okay. Maybe you have 0.37. I hear that all the time. Luke, oh, I'm happy I found Bitcoin, but I'm so sad. I wish I got to 1 coin. I didn't make it. I only have 0.3. Oh, woe is me, right? Like, no, you're okay. You have 1/1000th of the Bitcoin stack of Steak and Shake, which has 400 locations, right? Would you like to own 1/1000th of a pie of 400 storefronts, of 400 restaurants? Like, okay, that's not a trivial amount of money, right? Like, that's a good amount of money, right? Like, that's okay. You own basically half of a franchise, right? Just casually. And you have the time and the ability to buy more. If you have 0.37 right now, you have the time to eventually get up to 1 coin, right? It might take a year, 2 years, 5 years, maybe even 10 years worth of work, depending on your circumstance, but you're not too late to Bitcoin, right? And so my emphasis is, if you have 3.7 Bitcoin, you have 10 times more Bitcoin than those people with a third of a coin. And if you have 300 Bitcoin, you've got 100 times more than those people, right? I skipped the 37. Many of you, like most of you watching are probably, there are people watching this video that have all those stack numbers and higher and lower. Some of you watching have way more than 300 coins, and many of you watching have way less than a third of a coin, right? But the point is, all of you are in this tiny little congregation, right? It's like, this is what's cool about these Bitcoin events I was referring to earlier. It's like, this circle is so small. Like, you understand that, like, whatever, 50,000 people follow me on Twitter and YouTube, and like, there is so much Bitcoin represented in this audience here, right? We are so early. And just casually having a third of a coin, or 3 coins, or 30 coins, or even 100 coins, like, just casually having any amount of Bitcoin more than 0.01 Bitcoin is just going to be absurd in the future, right? And so, I don't know. I think that's just such important grounding for everyone to have right now, is that these companies pretty soon are going to start realizing, even if we went all in Bitcoin today, we maybe could get 100 coins. We maybe could get 500 coins. We maybe could get 50 coins, right? And so you have way more Bitcoin than you think. And so that is my encouragement. You have to understand how rare it is to actually have multiple whole coins. You have less in common with the near future than the ancient past. You must treat your Bitcoin like a corporation, because guess what? If Steak and Shake does buy these 370 coins, guess what? They probably bought 10 times more Bitcoin than a comparably sized company is going to buy. And they're going to probably have their business grow even more, so they'll buy more, right? So the point is, other companies probably won't even have a 10th of what Steak and Shake buys, if they theoretically do that, right? And so likewise, you have a Bitcoin stack comparable to a corporation, right? Do you understand there are 300 million companies in the world? There are 21 Bitcoin, right? Most companies are never even going to have a 10th of a Bitcoin. If you have a 10th of a Bitcoin, you basically are a corporation, right? That is the kind of wealth you have. And so this is my encouragement. There are 4 big things you need to focus on to think like a corporation and increase your Bitcoin stack. No matter if you have a third of a coin or 300 coins, no matter where you are in that spectrum, or if you're higher or you're lower, whatever it is, these are the 4 things you need to consider, because all of you have a sizable stack. If it's 30, if it's 20, if it's 2, all of you have a sizable stack. Goal number 1, stack more. Your number 1 cost is opportunity cost. The number 1 risk for Stake and Shake right now is that they get distracted with the Bitcoin memes and with the Bitcoin hype, and they do not execute. If they wait and Bitcoin price doubles, they are not getting 370 Bitcoin. They are getting 185 Bitcoin. They're only getting half of what they could have gotten if they wait. The opportunity cost is the biggest risk facing Stake and Shake. And including for you, dear viewer, the biggest risk you have is your opportunity cost. You can worry about, oh, should I buy this device or that device? Well, that costs twice as much. Or, oh, well, the Bitcoin advisor changes 0.6%. Oh, that's too expensive. Or, oh, Bitcoin price went down 5%. Or, oh, blah, blah, blah. You can dabble with the pennies and the quarters and the nickels trying to pick it up in front of the steamroller. Or we could just brainstorm and go out there and figure out how to buy 20% more Bitcoin this quarter, or how to buy 50% more Bitcoin over the course of the rest of the year, right? Your number 1 cost is not all the little things. Your number 1 cost is not taking advantage of the big opportunities right in front of you. So that's my big encouragement. You, more than anything, you need a Bitcoin acquisition plan to increase your stack, okay? However, the fastest way to get that plan is to reduce your tax, legal, and custody risk, right? If you are a corporation, you do not have some random person just casually doing your taxes. You don't have some random person, also the same person, doing the legal structure to protect that Bitcoin. You also don't have the same person learning simultaneously about how to self-custody Bitcoin, right? If you're a corporation, you don't have everything on your Coinbase account. You don't have everything on a single SIG that you put in one of the location's front desk, right? You don't leave it in the cash register, right? That's stupid. That is literally stupid, okay? And that's just the reality. If you are having major risks with your tax, legal, and custody risks, that is going to come to bite you. 3 Bitcoin, when 1 Bitcoin's $10 million, that's $37 million worth of capital, right? That is exactly the amount of cash that they have right now, right? That's my big encouragement. That's what you need to focus on. Treat your Bitcoin like it is of a corporation. Reduce the tax risk with your Bitcoin. Your number 1 tax risk is the estate tax, okay? If you have a certain amount of Bitcoin, and if you die, which God forbid, I hope you don't die, but if you did, the state is going to take 40%, up to 40% of your assets, depending on what state and what country you're in, right? That's almost half of your Bitcoin. That's over a third of it. You can effectively increase your Bitcoin stack by 66% if you just get the proper trust setup for your Bitcoin, and you can fully negate, you can fully defer the estate tax indefinitely, theoretically, right? Up to 350 years with a certain kind of trust, dynasty trust, irrevocable trust, revocable trust, lots of options. I'm not going to give you a specific recommendation here, obviously, but there are options available to you to avoid the 40% estate tax. Also, you have the risk of lawsuit. Okay, Stake and Shake, they have a legal team. They have lawyers. Guess what? You probably should too. Why? Because you probably have at least 1% of the Bitcoin they're going to have, right? So there's also the risk of legal seizure, right? Meaning, what is the most common example? Let's say you have $5 million worth of Bitcoin. Let's say I'm a bad guy, and hey, I know you probably have somewhere between $3 to $8 million of Bitcoin. I don't know how much, but I don't need to know. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to crush your business. I'm going to take time away from your family or loved ones. I'm going to force upon you all these bills from all these lawyers, even though I know I won't win, but I know you're going to settle. Maybe you don't give me all of your Bitcoin, but give me 10% of your Bitcoin and I'll leave you alone. Okay, these kinds of legal parasites are out there. And unfortunately, once the papers are served, it is too late. I'm aware of someone right now who has about 100 Bitcoin, and he evaded the government, which I never recommend you do. He said, you know, not your keys, not your coins, and he hid the Bitcoin. The government doesn't like that because he is in contempt of court. They're charging him $10,000 a day until he gives up his Bitcoin keys because of this lawsuit, right? So the point is, you cannot just cross your fingers and hope, oh, nobody's ever going to sue me. Oh, that's fine, right? It's like the reality is you have to have a plan. And ironically, that's going to help you sleep better at night because you're not going to be worried about those kinds of bad things happening. 100 Bitcoin, which was this guy's story, right now is about $8 million if you assume an $80,000 Bitcoin. Okay, maybe you don't have $8 million worth of Bitcoin right now, but maybe you have 800 grand. Guess what? All it takes is one 10x for where you are now in that position where you have $8 million of Bitcoin. Okay, maybe you have 80 grand worth of Bitcoin, one Bitcoin, right? Maybe, the point is, this is coming to all of us, like it or not. Congratulations, you're in the new rich. It's time to estate plan. It's time to think this stuff through. Okay, of course, the last one, which you always hear about, is get off exchanges, blah, blah, blah. You've heard it a million times. For some reason, you're still procrastinating it, but let's move on to the next point. What do I do? What does our team do? Our team has 40 Bitcoiners, CPAs, financial advisors, experts in trusts, experts in self-custody planning, people from all over the world in over a dozen different countries. Combined, we have a third of a millennia of experience, and we are ready to serve you. We're ready to help you. However, the reason I'm talking about this, yes, is so that you'll reach out to me, so that you'll text me, and we can have a conversation. We can help you do that. Obviously, it's my financial incentive to promote this service. However, it's not the only incentive, right? Like, I'm promoting this event because it's fun, right? I make these videos because they're fun. I was doing these things way before I made any money from them, and now I'm here when they do make money. But the point is, I'm mostly doing this to clear my conscience, because I get those calls from people. Luke, I lost 500 grand in this stupid scam. I was so naive. Man, I wish I listened to you. Or I get a call from somebody else. Luke, I just lost 5 grand in this hack. I sent it, or whatever. I sent it to a wrong wallet, or somebody drained my exchange, whatever it is. I've met people that have lost 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, even 10 million, $20 million worth of Bitcoin, and all kinds of scams, hacks, rug pulls, lawsuits, anything you can imagine. I've seen so many people lose money, and 50,000 Bitcoiners follow me on Twitter and YouTube. Do you understand that probably 20,000 of you that follow me, that like my posts, that watch my videos, 20,000 of you in the next 5 years are probably going to lose at least half of your money? That's just the reality. Now, I can't help 20,000 of you, which is why the few of you that actually do reach out, we have a conversation. It's why that you're so far ahead of the curve. But the point is, you only have 3 options. And I don't care what option you do. I'm mostly sharing this information with you, of telling you the things you need to consider right now, because I'm clearing my conscience. So just hear me out. Let me clear my conscience. Here are the 3 options. Option 1 is that you can be lazy and hire our team to help you. And I don't say lazy in a pejorative way, right? Like, I'm a client of our own business too, of course, right? Like, the exact things and setups that clients have is we eat our own cooking, right? So I'm lazy too. And it's not because I don't have a good work ethic. It's because I literally can't keep up, right? Do I really think myself, Luke Broyles alone, that only has 2,000 working hours a year, can keep up with 40 people with centuries of experience and all kinds of niches and understand? It's like, I can't keep up. I know I can't keep up. I'm humble enough to admit I can't keep up. And so that's why I'm a client of our own services, right? And so your first option is you can give me a text or book a call with me in the link in the description below. We can have a conversation of how you can start treating your Bitcoin like a corporation and preserving it and growing it over the course of many years to come. You can have that. That's your first option. Your second option is you don't have to do that. You don't need me to help you. You don't need the Bitcoin advisor to help you. You can figure it out on your own. You can learn everything you need to be legally protected with your Bitcoin and avoid those kinds of court orders and make sure that you aren't even a target for those kind of lawsuit and lawfare parasites out there. You can learn everything there is with the tax situations, learn everything to do with mitigating capital gains tax, state taxes, other kinds of taxes with your Bitcoin, both in the present and the future. Also, on your own, you can learn everything about self-custody. The information's out there. The information's free. Just, put in the repetition, do the hours, make sure you never make a mistake ever, a single time for the rest of your life and your spouse's and children's life. Make sure you don't have any mistakes. Make sure you never have a failure point, because unfortunately, Bitcoin is a weird time traveling kind of thing, right? If you leave your door, it's like having a house and you leave your door unlocked in 2015, but then a burglar in 2027 can steal it, right? It's the same kind of concept with Bitcoin. If you make a self-custody error now, that error might not be exploited by a criminal or bad actor for another 5 or 10 years, right? Maybe you have 1 Bitcoin in self-custody now and you made a mistake that you're not even aware of. But if you wait 10 years, now that 1 Bitcoin goes from 80 grand to 8 million, well, then they have the incentive to attack it, right? This is exactly how the scammers attack Bitcoiners. What the scammers do, what the thieves and fish, what they do is they ignore all the small fish. They go after the big fish. They go after the people from a year, 5 years, 10 years ago. The farther back in the chain, the more they get attacked, right? And so you are the early adopters for 10 years from now, right? So anyway, that's your second option. If you want to do the work yourself, I wish you all the best. I'm just being frank and transparent with you. You are not going to outcompete us. Our team is going to outwork you. We're going to know more than you. We're going to put in more work than you. And because not only are there 40 people of us on the team, but we have directly experience with thousands of people, thousands of clients, with thousands of stories, horror stories and great stories. Like, we obviously inherently will have more work because for every week you're putting in 10 hours of work learning about all these subjects. We have multiple people who are specialized niche experts on each of those individual subjects, right? So that's your second option. You can have help along with you, and together as a team, we will help you stack way more Bitcoin than what you could have had on your own. Or you can do it on your own, and I wish you the best if you do it on your own. And that is a real option, because the only other option, if you don't do that, is that you're going to lose all your Bitcoin because you are both cheap and lazy. You can choose one, right? You can be lazy. And if as long as you're not cheap and you hire us, then you're going to be good to go. You're going to keep your Bitcoin. Frankly, you're going to 10x your stack beyond what you're paying us in fees. For every percent you're paying us in fees, you're going to stack 10% more Bitcoin. So, it's not actually cheap. It's not actually being cheap. It's actually a logical value add. But the point is, I don't care what you do, if you hire me or not, if you text me or not. I just want you to take action, because I genuinely believe what I said earlier. Okay, 50,000 people between my social medias follow me right now, and they hear me talk about Bitcoin. I'm making this message exceptionally clear, because nobody, when they reach out to me and explain that they just lost this amount of Bitcoin due to a divorce, or due to a lawsuit, or due to a self-custody error, or due to an attack, or due to a house fire, or due to somebody breaking in their home and stealing it when they were gone on vacation, right? None of them can say with a straight face that I didn't warn them. I did try to warn you. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do now, right? And so that's my encouragement. I don't care what you do, but for goodness sakes, don't ignore both of these options. Your only option right now is either to text me or commit right now to become an expert. Everything custody, everything legal, everything tax, and everything acquisition. Make sure you have the best products available to you to stack more Bitcoin, because your number one cost is opportunity cost. Make sure you have all the tax planning in hand, because capital gains tax plus a 40% estate tax could easily take half of your Bitcoin over time, even if you think you're doing everything right. Make sure you have proper legal protections. Otherwise, every other year you might be drugged through some sort of court litigation thing that's stupid, that's nonsensical, but it's what they do to try to take your Bitcoin. And obviously, make sure you have self-custody. So either text me or book a call with me, the link in the description below, or learn these things on your own. I wish you all the best. But the big picture, the important thing to understand here is that we are so early to Bitcoin. These kinds of events are not going to come around very often. Feel free to join us at Zion. Would love to have you join. Give the phone number a text, and understand that the companies are coming, and the companies are going to meme Bitcoin into mass adoption. Hundreds of millions of people are going to get visual touch points and exposure to Bitcoin, and these are the kinds of things that are going to accelerate Bitcoin adoption. And you are not too late to Bitcoin. I don't care if you have 185 Bitcoin, you got 30 Bitcoin, 4 Bitcoin, or a third of a Bitcoin, even less than a third of a Bitcoin. It's all not too late. You're definitely still early. Obviously, the more Bitcoin you have, the less you have to wait to reach your financial goals. But just be patient, hodl for the long term. And if you don't believe me, take the encouragement from Steak and Shake. Hodl long term in the future. And most importantly, make sure you keep what you hold. You can hodl as much as you want, but if you lose it all, for many of the reasons I've described before, then it was in vain. So don't hodl in vain. Secure your Bitcoin, upgrade your self-custody. I hope to see you in Zion. And if not, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.